Hi everyone, I am LaContra, and today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how I made this 3-tiered gathered maxi skirt. Okay, so you're going to be needing the following measurements: waist circumference. For this tutorial I'm using 30 inches, hip circumference plus 1 inch. The reason is because we don't really want the skirt to fit around the hip, but we want the skirt to look a bit shaped and curvy around the hip area, but not hugging the hip per se. Length of skirt 43 inches. The band height is 2 inches. The band is going to be deducted from the length of skirt. So in essence, the measurement we'll be working for with our skirt is 41 inches, okay, plus the band make it 43 inches. So this is how we're going to cut out the skirt. Okay, we don't need too much pattern drafting, we just need these basic calculations. For this tutorial, the first layer or tier of my skirt, okay, I'm doing ×2 of the waist circumference, which is 60. Then I'm adding 2 inches to accommodate for zipper allowance. That's for the breadth. Then the length is just 7 inches. Then I'm adding 1 inch because I'm going to be using 0.5 at the top to stitch it to the band and 0.5 here to stitch it to the second tier. Then the second tier, the width is double of this, which is 120. Then I'm adding 2 inches for zipper allowance. Then the length is 15 inches plus 1 inch, okay, for seam allowance. The third one is supposed to be 240, which is double of this, but I ran out of fabric, so the best I could get was 200 inches plus 2 inches for zipper allowance, and the length here is 19 inches plus 1 for seam allowance, 20. Then this is the band. I'm going to be cutting the band using the waist circumference. The waist circumference is 30. I'll be adding that 2 for zipper allowance, making 32. Then the height is going to be 5 inches, knowing that when I fold that 5 inches into 2, I'll be left with 2.5 inches. Then when I stitch 0.5 to the first layer, okay, I'll be left with the band of 2 inches. So let's start. Okay, here we are. I've cut out the band for the skirt. So this is the band. I also cut out interfacing for the band. Then these are the layers or the tiers of the skirt. Okay, this is the first layer. Okay, that one is about hip depth long. Then this is the second layer here. Okay, and this is the third layer, following the measurement I just explained to you guys. So I'm going to be using bias binding, okay, to hem the skirt. You could use a regular bias binding, but I decided to customize my own bias binding using my bias tape maker. If you don't have a bias tape maker, you can do it by folding and pressing at the same time, but it's more tedious. Okay, having this makes it easier. Okay, so this is my bias. I'm also going to be using zipper, of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be ironing my interfacing, okay, to my band right now. So let's get that done. Okay, so after ironing the interfacing onto the band, fold the band into 2 and press to create a crease, just like I'm doing. Okay, so after creating a crease, just open your band up, just like I'm doing, and fold in with 0.5 of an inch and press it down. Okay, like so. 0.5 all the way to the other side. Okay, so you can see I'm going to repeat the same process on this side. Okay, so I'll just do this. I'll fold this over like this. I'll press it down just to have that crease, you know. So I'm going to set the band aside. So the next thing is I'll be working on the first layer, okay, the first gathered layer of the skirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be running gather stitch from this end down to this end only. Okay, so in order for you to start sewing your gather stitches, set the stitch length to the largest. Okay, for my machine the largest is 4. Okay, so for this machine this is what I'll use anytime I want to do gather stitches. Okay, so I'll just let my foot down and start running my gather stitches. So you repeat the same process for the second one, and pay attention, you are only sewing the top. Okay, you are not doing the gathers top and bottom, you are only doing the gathers at the top of each layer of the skirt. So I'm on the second layer right now. Okay, so this is the third one. I'm doing the gathers on the third layer. Okay, so after running the gather stitches on the 3 layers, I'll pick out the first layer, which is this one, the shortest one. I'm going to gather, okay, I'm going to gather all this bulk back to my waist circumference. Okay, and the waist circumference I'm using is 30. So I'll gather it back to 30 plus 2, that is 32. The 2 will serve as zipper allowance. Okay, 1 inch zipper allowance here, and on the other side equals to 2. So I'm gathering it back to waist circumference plus 2 inches. So you gather by pulling. Okay, so I've gathered it to the waist circumference. I'm just trying to adjust the gathers so that they go round evenly. Okay, I'll just adjust the gathers. So after adjusting the gathers, I'm going to attach this part to the band. Okay, so I'll turn this to the wrong side. I'll turn it to the wrong side this way. Okay, and I'll open up the band. I'll open it up. Then you see this seam allowance flap here. I'm going to lay it here on where I have the gathers. Okay, I'll pin it down all around, and I'll also be sewing with 0.5 of an inch. Okay, so having pinned the band onto the wrong side of the skirt, I'm going to sew using 0.5 of an inch. Just follow the crease line. Okay, so I'll just sew it 0.5 of an inch all the way around. Okay, so you can see, next thing is I'm going to fold the band over this way and press it down. When you're pressing it down, make sure that the seam allowance is upwards, okay? And one more thing, when you are pressing, do not press the gathers. You are just pressing the band and the seam allowance, not the gathers, okay? Okay, so I'm done ironing. I'll just flip this to the right side, okay? You can see the seam allowance pointing upwards. The next thing is I'm going to close, okay, I'm going to flip this downwards, making sure that it covers up this the stitch line. Okay, make sure it covers it just a little bit. I'm going to pin in place. Okay, so now that I've pinned this down, I'll take it to the sewing machine and I'll do a top stitch, you know, close to this, all the way from here down there. Okay, so remember, we are going to be sewing very close to this. Okay, so let's, okay, so you can see how close I'm sewing this. Then try to maintain a straight line as well. Okay, so I'm done. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. The next thing is I'm going to be gathering this. I'm going to gather this lower flare of the first layer. I'll gather it back to about the hip circumference. Okay, the hip circumference for this skirt is 42, but I'm going to gather it to 43 plus 2 inches for zipper allowance. So let me do that. Okay, here it has been gathered to 45 inches, 43 for the hip circumference and 2 inches for zipper allowance. So I'm going to take the second layer and gather it to 45 inches. Then after doing that, I'm going to be sewing them together here using 0.5 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, so I've held them down together with pins. I'm going to be sewing with 0.5 of an inch. Okay, so you can see I've done that. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. If this was 2 layer skirts, you just hem, add the zipper and that's all. Okay, but it's a 3-layer skirt. So what I'm going to do now is, you see here, okay, you see this, the flare of the second layer. I'm going to measure it. After measuring it, I'm going to use that measurement to gather the 3rd layer. So let me get that done. Okay, so I've gathered it. I'm about to stitch. So I'm also stitching with 0.5 of an inch. Take note, 0.5 of an inch. Okay, as you can see, I've attached the 3rd layer already. Okay, this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now next thing is I want to sew my center back seam allowance, zipper allowance, then finally I'm going to hem with bias taping, and that will be the end of the tutorial. So to sew the center back seam allowance, I'm going to turn the fabric so that the right side is facing right sides, just like this. Okay, just like this. Then from the waistband, I'm going to measure the length of the zipper. That's where the zipper is going to stop. So that should be about 9 inches from the waist. Okay, so this is 9 inches. I'm going to notch that part. Okay, I have a notch here, 9 inches. Okay, I'm going to place a pin. So what I'm going to do is from here, okay, this is where my zipper is going to be. So from here downward, I'm going to be sewing with 1 inch seam allowance straight down to the hemline. Okay, I've sewn the center back seam, as you can see, okay, up to this part. So the next thing I'll be doing is I'll be fixing my zipper. Okay, so remember, you are sewing the zipper with 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, I'm done with the zipper. Okay, so what's left for me to do now is to hem using my customized bias taping. So let me get that done. Okay guys, this is what the tailored skirt looks like. Okay, you can see how full, how big it is. You can make yours fuller if you like. Okay, so I'll be waiting for your questions in the comment section. Okay, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned, stay safe, stay inspired, and I'll see you when I see you in another video. Bye.